All right. Hello and welcome back to Sheroic, the interview series where we have candid conversations with Sheropreneurs about their journey to creating a life and business that they love waking up to. And hopefully that will inspire you to do the same. And so I'm Kenya Halliburton, and today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, transformation. And that is kind of the premise that we are exploring today with my very special Shiro. I get to speak with one of my favorite and inspiring Shiros around the topic of transformation. And it's Tamecia, aka Tam, aka Simply Tam Jackson. Welcome, Tam.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me, Kenya.
I'm excited. And so Tam is the founder of the Foundation for Artful Living, or the Simply Tam Foundation for Artful Living. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Where her mission is to help ensure that no Christian artist is a starving artist, which is interesting. So we'll talk to you about that. And you can find that at foundationforartfulliving.com. She's also the host of Mogul Alert, which is her new interview series. So hopefully we'll get to talk about that as well. And she's also the author of the book, The Mother of the Accused, or Mother of the Accused, A Christian Woman's Guide to Fighting for Faith and Family. And I also have the honor and privilege for Tam to be a part of Insider in my Content Clients and Cash Flow Inner Circle, which is how we met. So I'm excited, Tam, to really dig into your story. As I was sharing with you earlier, I mean, we talk, on and off a lot, but I was sharing with you, like, to me, you are next to in the dictionary, next to the word transformation would be your picture. I mean, you do it so beautifully, and your story is so beautiful. So I want to dig into that for people, because I feel like it's such an inspiring testimony and testament to what we all can do and what we all can accomplish. So tell us how this all started. You are in the process of building this foundation for artful living for Christian artists, and you are in mogul mode yourself, but you have an interesting story as to how you got here. So talk to us a little bit about how your journey began.
Well, I started writing poetry when I was about 12. I was a foster kid, and I used to get bullied some, and so poetry was kind of like my outlet. Mm-hmm. And over the years, I would write off and on. And then when I was in my late 20s, I started back to writing poetry some. And I had shared some with a coworker, and she thought it was just profound and beautiful and amazing. And why aren't you sharing this? And I'm like, girl, please, this ain't nothing, But then in my 30s, I was in a very, when I say that relationship was so crazy, I don't even know. Like, we argued on our first date. So They should have told me right there to keep it moving. Uh-huh. But it was a very, very tumultuous relationship. And I found myself after about 4 years in a very, very not just wretched, but ratchet place, right? Mm-hmm. And so I went out to the storage room where I kept my hope chest. So that right there is a metaphor, when your hopes and dreams are in a storage room, right? But I went out there and I got some old poetry of mine to dust off because I had been to a place where they performed their poetry and stuff the week before, and I had never seen anybody do it, but I was like, I think I want to try that, And so I got one of these poems that the girl was like, oh, you should share this. So I tweaked it a little bit, and the next week I went to the open mic. Now let me back up a little bit, because when I dusted off the poetry, I shared it with the man that I was in the relationship with, and he laughed at me. Mm-hmm. And he made fun of me. And it hurt my feelings, but it made me more determined. And so that next week I went up and I sat at the table with a few strangers, and I was like, I'm supposed to do this, but I don't know. And the woman was like, well, you better, because da da da. So she encouraged me. I went up and gave the lady my name for the sign-up list. And she's like, so what's your stage name? What's your name? What do you call yourself? And I said, Tam. And she said, no, like, what do you call yourself? Like, I said, Tam. Like, I didn't know what she was looking for.
Right.
And she said, Simply Tam? And I was like, Simply Tam. So the name stuck. And I just, from there, the applause, the praise, people were coming up to me. You did great. One guy wanted a CD of my poetry. I didn't know they did that either. But it was something different than what I was used to at home, where I was always being put down and, told I was nothing, stuff like that. So that was just a way for me to see myself in a different space and a different place over time. Mm-hmm. And so I actually, that gave me the courage to get out of that relationship. And I went semi-pro with, working the clubs and starting my own open mics. And, that led to a few books, not just poetry books, but I didn't know I could write fiction, urban novels. And it led to some real CDs, like real produced, and, tours and all this. And everything was just flowing great. Kinda. Mm-hmm. There were times during that process where I didn't know how I was going to eat that night. Like, I would wake up in the morning, like, how am I going to eat today? Mm-hmm. And I would take some of my merchandise and I would get out and hustle, and I would eat a couple times a day, and I would put some gas in my car to get out and do it the next day. Mm-hmm. But it was liberating. It was freeing, but the grind got old. Okay. And it just got spiritually overwhelming, because I was all over the place trying to figure out who I was in God, who he was. Like, I was like, who is, like, I hear these people talk about him. I've read this Bible my whole life, went to Bible college, always in somebody's church, but I just didn't really know him like I wanted to. Mm-hmm. And fast forward to another crazy relationship, and dude got on my nerves so bad. One night I was like, you know what? I quit. I retire.
I love that.
I felt so just worn out from life and people and men and everybody. Mm-hmm. And I just retired. I everything stopped. Like, I had an online radio program. I had so much going on. Everything stopped overnight. Mm-hmm. I found religion, put everything else down, and I put my hopes and dreams back into that hope chest. Mm. And that went on for about 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So one of the things that jumped out at me, because I've always wondered, and we've never talked about this, but where your tenacity comes from. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when we have dreams and aspirations, and someone downplays them, or we don't get the support or the accolades that we really would like to really push us forward. A lot of times we put that stuff on hold. We put it in the hope chest and it stays there. Mm-hmm. But even though you put your stuff back in the hope chest, there was a period where you were able to kind of put your like Wonder Woman shield up and like stave off all of that stuff and not let it get in you and keep you from, sharing your gift with the world. So is that a testament to your faith? Do you feel like that was where you drew from?
Oh, most definitely. If it had not been for me finding Christ at the time that I did, I probably would have slipped somewhere I couldn't have gotten back from. It was seeing who he was clearly for the first time, that peace and that rest that I always wanted, that I had been looking for. There was structure that I needed that I did not know that I needed. And I found that in Christ and in religion for a while. And so it was one of those things that kind of anchored me and kind of brought me back to center.
Yeah.
But then I kind of went overboard with it.
Yeah.
And I got too deep into it in a way that I lost myself again. Like the ink in my pen dried up. And when the ink, if you're a writer and the ink in your pen dries up, it may as well be that your heart stops beating, you know. And I found myself in just a very precarious place, not in my faith, but in my connection with the people around me.
Yeah.
Not really knowing how I was going to fit long term, but not knowing how to leave either, you know. And that was the story of my life, staying in bad relationships too long.
Listen, that's the story of a lot of our lives, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so you got to this point where you kind of put everything on hold. But at some point you pulled it back out and you wrote this book, Mother of the Accused, A Christian Woman's Guide to Fighting for Faith and Family. So how did that come about?
Well, ironically enough, I was at home giving a Bible study one day, or getting ready to. I was preparing for my Bible student to come over so we could get into another lesson. And I get a knock at the door. And the knock didn't come first. I saw two plainclothes cops coming up to my door from the window. And I kind of joked with them some, you know, but it was kind of to alleviate some pressure, because I thought they were there to talk about my son's nephew by marriage, who had been found unresponsive in a pool the day before.
Wow.
So I thought they were there investigating that, to ask me some questions about what had happened, even though I wasn't there.
Right.
I guess I thought they were just covering all the bases. And so when they came in, they said, "We're here looking for your son." I said, "Well, he's up at the hospital." You know, I'm really thinking that's what they're there for, to talk to him or somebody about this baby who's on life support, and all these things are going on, you know? And he says, well, we need to talk to him and is that his girlfriend or his wife? And I was like, well, which son are you talking about? And what are you talking about? You know, because my youngest son was married, and I don't think my oldest son was married at the time. I can't remember. But they just, the way they questioned it, I was just like, what? This isn't really about what I think it's about. So I said, well, you know what? Which son are you talking about? So they told me, and they said, we're here. He's been implicated in 2 burglaries. And I was like, immediately knew, that boy, they crazy. They got the wrong somebody. You know what I mean? And they said, well, where is he? And I said, well, you know what? Can I pray first? And they said, what? They asked me 3 times. Like, why are you asking me the same question 3 times? You understand English, man. You know?
Yeah.
And so after I got their permission to pray in my own house, because you don't want to make no sudden moves around the police these days. But anyway, I sat down and I said a prayer and invited the Lord. And I told him, I said, Lord, I don't know what's going on, but I know you do. And I need you in this moment. I need you to come in and really lead me and guide me here. Because in my spirit, I felt like something big was happening. Like, it's like I could feel that this was going to be deeper than what it looked like. And after we prayed, they showed me a picture of the suspect, and I immediately knew that's not my kid, man. Who is this fella? You know, this is not my boy.
Right.
So I showed them a side-by-side picture, like, this isn't even the same, but y'all can't see that? And they was like, oh, it looks like the same to me. And I'm like, dude, you can't see that there's 2 different guys, you know?
Yeah.
So from there, I entered the fight of my life to save my kid. And it was a few weeks, you know, we were trying to get them to see it's not the same person. They were adamant, trying to get him to come downtown and talk. I was like, man, he ain't coming down there. we talked to a lawyer. The lawyer said the same thing. So I knew I was on the right track. We're not going down there. Too many people hang themselves going to talk to the police.
Mm-hmm.
My boy wasn't going to be one of
Mm-hmm.
them. And so we didn't hear anything for a while. A few months went by, and it was that happened in June. The following January, we were preparing for my birthday. Everything was cool. I get a call from jail. They had arrested him on those 2 charges. He was facing 20 years.
Wow.
And it was clear and evident that he had not done anything. You know, he was not even a part of anything. And so his wife and I, we got on our hustle and we found out who the perpetrator was.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we shared that with the police. They didn't care about that. They were adamant about my boy. We got him bailed out, and nobody cared. Nobody cared that he was innocent. Nobody cared that there was evidence that he was innocent. Nobody cared that we knew who it was. Nobody cared. They just, I don't know what it was. It was like it was a hit out on him.
Yeah.
And I was determined. I determined in myself when they came to my door in June, not my son. You can hashtag that.
Mm-hmm.
Not my son.
Not my son.
Mm-hmm.
So you went through that, and how did that wrap up? I mean, I know how it wrapped up, but share it with everyone how that situation concluded.
Yeah. Well, when he was indicted in March on the charges, which threw me into a major mental tailspin because I was extremely hurt, angry, disappointed, and everything else I could be that was a negative. So I knew if he went to trial that his chances of being convicted were extreme. Like if they were this adamant about doing this, they would find a way to make sure he was convicted. Evidence be damned. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was at that point that I made up in my mind that he could not go to trial. I would have to try his case in the court of public opinion.
Mm.
And that was risky in itself because the public can be brutal. They, you know, but if you can give them something to believe in and you can show them truth versus fiction or truth versus lies, they're more likely to be on your side. Now, I had to make sure that I had all my ducks in a row. And I went to the press. I emailed national news, bloggers, YouTubers, local news, anybody that I thought could take this case and really put it out there and showcase it in a way that the public got to decide what happened to my boy. I was on it, but only one news channel responded.
Wow.
And we went from there. It was a few months of fighting back and forth. My son had a public defender. I literally had to make this dude do his job. I became my son's lawyer. And I told his lawyer, I said, look, I don't care what you called me, because he called me angry at some point, right? I don't care what you call me. You need to understand what we're going for is case dismissed with prejudice.
Yes.
My son is not going to trial for this, and he's not going to have these charges on his record for 5 years.
Yeah.
This is going away, and you're going to do your job. I need you to file this motion by the end of the day. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. I will call him, look, this hasn't been done. Why?
Yeah.
You know? So I essentially had to go in and know exactly what needed to be done because I'm not a lawyer. I can't file the motions and all this. I probably could, but you know.
Yeah.
He's getting paid to do it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, by July 13th, which we're a year in,
yes,
July 13th of 2017, the case was dismissed with prejudice. God did what we asked him to do.
That is incredible. And you did your part as well. I think it's really amazing how our gifts and our talents that God gives us though that skill set kind of ends up showing up in some of the trials and challenges of our lives, and really kind of defining our journey. And so I think that's just really beautiful, and just to watch that transformation in you that seems to have taken place during that period. I mean, I can imagine, like, some really incredible things came out of you and your ability to help your son. And that was like, wow, like I was able to do that, so that's really incredible. So this incident was the catalyst for you writing your book to help other mothers. I'm a mom of 3 boys, so this story freaks me out a lot. But there is some solace in understanding that, someone has fought the system and fought the good fight, and that it's possible. So you wrote this book, and how did this book then create the transformation of you actually deciding to start your own business? Because I don't know, was this like an ongoing thing for you, this ongoing dream to start this business, or did this kind of come about after writing the book and kind of, some things being planted into your spirit?
Yeah. Well, actually, I filed for my LLC back in 2011.
Okay.
And when everything got put into the hope chest, when I found Jesus, my business was one of them.
Okay.
But throughout the time, I would like go past different things, and I would see a for sale or for lease sign, and I would think, man, but then I would put it out of my head. And when I wrote this book, here, I'll just show everybody
Yes. This book, Mother of the Accused, that we're talking about.
Mother of the Accused. When I wrote this book, it was cathartic to a great degree, but I did not realize how much I had been impacted. I was literally stripped of every single ounce of personal power. It was expended on fighting for my son. And once I wrote the book and I came through to the other side of it, I went to a writer's retreat hosted by Toya Poplar, the founder of Dream Plan Create. And I went to a writer's retreat with her and a few ladies. And, she did what Toya does. She pulls things out of you, and I started seeing things just a little bit differently, but I really still wasn't there. I was still in a bunch of pieces, just wrapped with some twine, holding myself together. And a few days after the retreat, Toya posted some pictures online of all of the women. And I'm looking in this line of beautiful ladies, and I didn't recognize myself.
Wow.
I looked, for the first time in my life, I looked like what I had been through. And I did not like that woman. I didn't want to be her. I just didn't want to live in that body anymore, in that persona, So I did something that was drastic for me. I was wearing my hair natural for years. I went and straightened my hair, girl. And for me, that was a representation of straightening out the kinks within me, But I went from all my life I had to fight, to woman thou art loosed with that straight hair,
Yes.
And things just started changing from there. I started really remembering who I was. I was really Simply Tam.
Right.
I was Simply Tam. I was the one who God had put poetry in.
Right.
The one who had ink flowing from her heart. Right. I was the one who inspired people to love. I was the one who inspired people to dream, to think about things on a different plane,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, now I wasn't even able to do this. This gotta shoot, man. We ain't about to deal with this.
Yeah.
Some gotta go, some gotta work, some gotta break, some gotta do something. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So on the anniversary of my son's arrest, we held a first book signing. And from there, I think it was maybe a week and a half later, I was in my room at 5 a.m. The Lord said, wake up and write this down.
Mm-hmm.
And I started writing out my business model.
Wow.
And by 5:30, I had a business that was bigger than what I planned it to be back in 2011.
Yeah.
And after what I had went through with my son and beating the giant known as the criminal justice system without a trial,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that nothing was going to stop me this time.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to stop me this time.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is going to stop me this time.
Yeah.
So I wear my hair straight. I rock my brown skin.
Yes.
I take this rheumatoid arthritis and I hobble through wherever I'm going to go.
All right now.
You know, I go upstairs like I'm 60 years old, but honey, I do it with pizzazz. You see what I'm saying?
You get where you're going. That's the important thing, right?
Yes. You know what I mean?
I love it, Tam. Wow, there's so much packed in there. I think that what's beautiful is that your story as a Christian woman and a Christian artist, having had these challenges thrown at you and having overcome these challenges, is essential to your call, because there's a lot of Christian artists and Christian women, Christians period, who have these gifts and talents inside of them that are trapped for one reason or another. Mm-hmm. And struggle with trying to get to that place that you have gotten to, given the trials. Because a lot of times these things come and knock us down and we stay down. But your faith and your tenacity and your commitment to be all that God has called you to be is infectious. And I mean, that comes through even in our conversation. It's come through since I met you. And so let's talk real quick about the challenges that specifically you have unearthed that Christian artists face. And what are some of like the main key things that you see that Christian artists face? And how does your foundation, the business that you're creating, serve these needs and these challenges?
Well, there's one thing that I have learned is that if you have an entrepreneurial spirit, you're most likely an artist. And if you're an artist, you most likely have an entrepreneur spirit. You just may not know it.
Yeah.
Because you have two dynamics here. As a Christian, you're told that you should just give. Mm-hmm. Period. Mm-hmm. Right? But Christ said, give and you shall receive. It's the receiving part that a lot of us have a problem with. Yes. Right? Mm-hmm. But you got to receive to give again, right? To keep giving, you've got to keep receiving.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
So we struggle with that whole receiving part, first of all. And then as artists, we're told that, oh, you should just love what you do and give it away. Mm-hmm. Because you love it. It should be free.
It has no value.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was, the talents were given to us to make something big in the earth. And it takes us receiving to make those things grow and become and to do and to be. Mm-hmm. Right? So there's the story in the Bible, a parable that Christ talked about with the guys that he gave the 3 talents to.
Yep.
One had 10, one had 5, and the other had 1. But the one who had the one talent had the nerve to go bury that bad boy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the one who had 10 talents got more,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why? Because he put it to use.
Right. Right.
See, doing what you love is not about the prosperity gospel,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
Mm-hmm.
prosperity gospel tells you just tithe, and you're going to get. Tithing is not forgetting.
Yeah.
It's for forgetting. It's for forgetting yourself.
Wow. Wow. You just said something right there. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Right? Because people will go max out their credit cards and they'll go blow their credit to drive a BMW and they're prosperous in their mind. But no, that's not God's way.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The prosperity gospel is living your talent, living your gifts, living free in Christ to be who you were created to be.
Mm.
You may be like I was in the beginning. Your girl was hustling and struggling and out there trying to sell a $5 CD at the barbershop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was free.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I didn't know God well, but I knew him enough to pray every morning, help me sell these CDs so I can eat today.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I ate every day. You
That's
see what I mean? So now I'm past that point. I've grown, I've matured, and now I'm at a place to where I am in a position to create a place where Christian artists and entrepreneurs can come have everything that they need in one place to be great.
mm-hmm.
God means for us to be great. We say this stuff all the time. God is great. God is good. Well, if we're made in his image, shouldn't we be great and shouldn't we be good?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's what the foundation for Artful Living is. That is what going through what happened to my son, fighting that good fight of faith, that Christian woman fighting for her faith and her family.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you face certain giants in life, you're not just fighting for your life, you're not just fighting for your family, you're fighting for your faith as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I wrote A Christian Woman's Guide to Fighting for Faith and Family.
Yeah.
The scriptures, leaning on God, understanding how the world works,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Led me to a place to where nothing and no one is going to put my hope in a chest again out in a storage bin.
I love it.
I'm out here working my hope and I'm spreading hope to others.
I like that. Working your hope.
Yes.
Working your hope. I love that. And I'm going to kind of segue into how we can get in touch with you and keep in contact with you for people who are interested in connecting with you. I know you're going to be, I know the Foundation for Artful Living is a local business that you are building, but you are also going to segue, I believe, into coaching and mentoring and things like that. So that's exciting too. So we'll talk about that. But I just want to say that one of the things that kind of stands out to me in this conversation about your transformation and kind of how we can kind of get something out of it for ourselves. I know for me, the key to some of your transformation, you have faith, which was essential, but you also had fight. Mm-hmm. That is essential. Mm-hmm. And to me, and I can definitely identify with those two things as being really important when you are wanting, because the thing is, we all want to be better, to have more, on some level, right? We all desire that, whether we admit it to ourselves or whether we're looking at someone on the stage or on TV and we're like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing, look at their life, and we're coveting what someone else has. We all want to be better and live fuller, happier lives. But the difference between those that do and those that don't is the faith and the fight. Because a lot of us give up.
Yeah.
And we don't fight. We just kind of lay down, wave the white flag and say, hey, you can have it. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Kind of like you were saying, like you were depleted. But your faith in God and the faith, your faith in yourself and the faith that other people poured into you around you, refueled you.
Yeah.
And, you know, your transformation has been amazing, the way you embrace transformation, because part of transformation is change.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And embracing change and being willing to go with the ebb and flow of life and God's divine timetable and calendar. And so you have done that so beautifully. So thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, in tears, you have you have ignited the tear ducts. You know that I'm a crybaby, and you started crying, and I was doing so good, and I was like, we gonna have our Oprah cry moment, so that's cool. But
I had to hold it.
Did good though. So tell us, for the Christian artists who is wanting to say, yes, I'm ready to step into my greatness. I'm ready to use the talents and gifts that I've put in my hope chest and pull them out and do what God has called me to do, or I feel on my heart God has called me to do. What would you tell them? What's the thing that you would like to leave us with?
As long as God is who he is and is as big as he is, you'll never be dethroned. Your royalty is secure. You are a child of the kingdom of God. You just have to walk like a prince or princess. Just walk in it. Just do. Just be great. Live artfully.
I love it. I love it. So if we want to live artfully, Tam, how do we follow you? How do we keep in contact with you? How do we do that in order to like get support in that area?
Well, you can go to the foundationforartfulliving.com. If you click on the events tab, you will see a host of events that we're always doing. But one thing you'll see is where you can schedule a consultation with me. And it's free. The first consultation is free. So we can kind of talk about where you are in your Artful Living journey and how the foundation can assist you in getting there, whether it be a membership or whether it be you just need this one consultation and you're ready to run, or you just needed to get unstuck, whatever it is. But yeah, if you go to the foundationforartfulliving.com, check it out, see what you got going on, click on that events tab, and you will be able to schedule that consultation. You'll always also find out how to contact us and just get the ball rolling on your Artful Living journey. I'm super excited. I'm also on Facebook. Have 2 pages there, the Foundation for Artful Living with Simply Tam, and there's Simply Tam LLC, which is my author page. So just let's do some work. Let's get it together. Let's get it in. Let's go be great, man. Let's live artfully. I'm excited. I'm super excited.
Well, I'm excited too, and I'm excited for you and everything that you have going on and all of the wins that you have experienced as of late, and everything to come. And I'm just excited that I can be a part of your success journey. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for tuning in with Tam. If you want to connect with her, I'll make sure that those links are in the description section. And have a wonderful day and be heroic. Bye.